Mean Raga on Instagram asked me, what do you think about having children in an overpopulated world? I think that it's pretty irresponsible in 2017 to birth human beings onto this planet, given the state of sustainability and climate change. Humans are extremely consumptive beings. We take a lot of resources to live, and our planet can't really handle more people, so having more doesn't really make much sense. Plus, there are so many millions of orphans out there who need families. Why would you bring more people onto the planet? But at the same time, I'm a spiritual being. I'm sensitive to human instinct and feeling and emotion. And I know that having children is one of those things that you shouldn't only consider science and sustainability in the environment, because it's such a spiritual decision. And some people, probably more women than men, although I feel it too, to be honest, I'm a sensitive dude, but a lot of women and men feel that instinctual human urge inside of them to make babies with each other. And I think raising your own child is probably the most intense love and spiritual experience that humans, maybe it's the most spiritual experience that a human being can have. I mean, imagine it. Birthing a being onto the planet like a freaking Hogwarts wizard and getting to raise that child into a productive, amazing person that also has good life experiences and does something for the world. It is bonkers and it's incredible. But as I said, there's the two ties. So first let's talk about why it's irresponsible to have kids, and then sort of the reason to have kids is kind of what I just described. Like if you just feel it spiritually inside, if it's something you need to do, and who knows, maybe you can make the argument that if you raise your kid to be a vegan activist, although you have no full control over that, so you can't say, oh, I'm just gonna have babies and they're gonna be vegan and they're gonna promote veganism. You don't know that. You probably didn't have vegan parents and you turned out vegan, so who's to say that your kid isn't going to be totally different than you? And I think that if you try to put your kid in a box, and I have no parenting experience obviously, but my philosophy on it is you should never try to put your kid in a box. You should give them as many resources and opportunities to explore what really they want to do inside of them, and then just facilitate what they love to do the most. That's what my parents did for me, and I think I turned out pretty good. I got drawings all over my body, but you know, it's all right. I think they did a great job. So the reasons not to have kids, this is the most important thing, because most people in the world don't even consider the environmental impact that they're doing to the planet and increasing their carbon footprint and the world's carbon footprint by having a child. So human beings are the most resource intensive animal on the face of the earth. Obviously, we're the only animals that fly on planes and drive cars and drink bottled water and use a bunch of plastic and use agriculture. We imbalance the ecosystem in so many ways that simply being a human, even if you're vegan and you ride your bike, still just having clothing and paying taxes that's gonna go to building bridges, which is sure a good thing, but it all takes resources and energy and fossil fuels. Essentially, the more humans we have on the planet, the worse off the planet's gonna be. Isn't that crazy that we've really gotten to that point where we're such a parasite? I mean, I'm sorry, I love you, I love people, I love me, I'm all about self-love, but human beings are the parasite of the planet, maybe even universe, who knows. But we destroy things, and so that's why it's all about being as most sustainable as possible, because you're still not going to be fully sustainable. You're still going to have a carbon footprint if you're a human being living in 2017 and you're not living out in the jungle in a hut and eating only foraged food. That's the only way to be completely carbon neutral, but if you're watching this video, you have technology, so you have a carbon footprint. And when you have a kid, you're bringing another resource-intensive human being onto this planet. So I mean, we're in a really fragile place right now. The parts per million of CO2 just reached, I think it's 410 parts per million. It's the first time in millions of years, I believe, that the carbon in the atmosphere has gotten to that many ppm. And what that means is that the temperature of the average temperature of Earth is going to be rising, which is melting polar ice caps, which is increasing the level of the ocean, and it's going to flood tons of coastal cities and dwellers who are going to have their entire existence be obliterated by it'll turn into the ocean. That's just one part of global warming that's destructive, not to mention drought, storms, what it does to wildlife and to people. So it's a hard thing for me, like how I feel about having kids, because I am a spiritual person and I do have an instinct to be a dad. That sounds so much fun. It sounds like a great time. Obviously a lot of stress and a lot of, you have to give up a lot of your life and there's a lot of sacrifices, but I'll be honest, I think it sounds fun to have a family and I'd like to do it, but maybe that means I'll have a child if my partner wants to, because of the spiritual reasons that I think you just can't deny. Some people have that instinct, but if my partner was cool with just adopting, that would be honestly just as good, maybe even better, because I really think that there's so many kids out there that need a home, that don't have a home due to irresponsible parents or parents who accidentally had a child, and the argument to have a kid, especially honestly if you're privileged, like there's a lot of people that aren't as privileged as you probably, that live in a rural community, like when we go in these villages in China, they kind of need to have kids in order to operate the farm, and it's like they don't have the education or contraceptive technology in order to not have children. If you're a privileged person watching this, and especially, yeah, the higher your privilege, pretty much the higher your carbon footprint is going to be for the most part. So I think that we need to make adoption much more popularized. I think there's a stigma around it. It just sounds like less good than having a child. We should actually reverse it. Having a child is kind of irresponsible in 2017, just going to be honest, due to environmental reasons. Plus, kind of the world that we have right now, which is like super violent and weird. There's just so many reasons to adopt rather than to have more children. But as I said, no shame if you have kids. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. I love babies. They're incredible. Remember that movie Babies? That was so good. I should watch that again. But do what you want in your heart. If it's not the most important thing for you to have a child with your own sperm and egg, and you want to have kids and you feel cool with adopting, do that. You should feel really good about that. And if you need to have kids for spiritual reasons, God bless you. That's beautiful. It's human instinct. Listen to it. So that is my opinion and philosophy on having kids in 2017. Let me know what you think down below in the description box or in the comments. If you agree with what I'm saying, or if you disagree, give me some reasons and points why, so that I can learn and we can have a discussion. Also, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. I post a lot of videos pretty much every day. Give it a thumbs up if you dug it, and go below in the description box to see all the links from my Veg Head t-shirts, online coaching opportunities, and how to get more exclusive videos on my Patreon page. If the one a day on YouTube just isn't enough, if you need 2 or 3 videos a day, go check out Patreon. Much love, Dream Extreme.